today's video, I'm going to tell you guys about my favorite books of 2018. I've already made a video about my favorite books of 2018, which are 2018 releases. But this video mostly focuses on the books that were not released in 2018 but read by me. But it also contains some 2018 releases because I elegantly forgot a few of the books that I was supposed to include in the previous video and I realized them later. So I would not just leave them forever. I'll just include them in this video. So I hope you guys pardon that. And now without any further ado, let's get into this video. But before that, make sure you're shopping from Amazon using the links which are in the description below. All the books are mentioned in the description below, but make sure you're watching this video till the end because that helps me a lot in keeping posting content on my channel, okay? We'll be starting with the easiest in this whole list, and that is Girls for the Vote by Linda Newberry. This book is about this girl called Polly who has these neighbors come to her place, and they are basically suffragettes. In around 1914, suffragettes were working for women's rights for voting because they did not have it yet. And Polly is very inspired by these two women, and she realizes that her friend, who's a very stupid guy, I forgot the name, but he was a very stupid guy. She realizes that this stupid guy will have the right to vote, but she won't. And that is when she realizes that she also wanted to help these girls. And that was such an amazing start to a lovely, sweet adventure. I really like this book because it makes you feel so warm inside and it makes you feel so positive about being a woman and fighting for your own rights, you know. Next favorite was Why Men Don't Listen and Women Can't Read Math. This book basically highlights why the two genders are very different and why both of us should try to understand each other and how we should actually approach the other gender. And that is something I really needed to know about. I did not know that I needed to know, but after reading this, I felt so much better. And I have actually shot a review for this video. I'm not sure that by the time I put this particular video up, whether it'll be up or not, but it'll be up soon for sure. So I read a lot of graphic novels this year, and I read a lot of books from the library and on my Kindle this year, which is why I don't really have a lot of paperbacks this year. I really recommend you guys to get the British Council Library membership if possible. I really like their collection. They have a lot of graphic novels and they are so costly, so you should probably rely on libraries for them. And if you don't have the British Library near you, you can get enrolled in any library because library memberships are always worth it. So I read this book called Chicken with Plums and it was so good. I found out about Marjane Satrapi from Persepolis, which is one favorite of mine definitely. And Chicken with Plums was such a short and amazing read. It was a graphic novel basically about how only one instrument actually ticks with you, and that instrument sometimes is a lover. So you can't really love anybody. There's only one person who perfectly fits, and that is such a lovely idea, fitted in about 100 pages. Since we talked about Persepolis is the best graphic novel ever. I think even telling you guys about it, it's like a spoiler, but if you have to know, it's about a girl growing in a time of turmoil where the government is changing and the new government is worse than the previous one. And Marjane Satrapi has a beautiful illustrating style. Her storytelling style is very unique. It's humorous, but at the same time it provokes you to think that if you are actually at peace, if you're actually free, and that is something books should do. It should make you question about your existence, and that is so beautiful. Honestly, before reading Persepolis, I thought graphic novels are stupid and for children. I won't lie, I'm so sorry for having such a wrong notion, guys. I apologize to all the people who asked me to read graphic novels before, because thank you so much. Graphic novels are truly the best. Another really amazing graphic novel was Through the Woods. And then there was Anya's Ghost, and then there was this another great graphic novel called This One Summer. I also read Cobalt Blue this year, towards the end of this year, that is, because it was scheduled to be released as a Netflix movie, and God, it was so amazing. So a brother and a sister fall in love with the same man, and this book has two perspectives, the beginning one of the brother, the ending one of the sister, and both of them are so different from each other. While the first one, that is the guy, is more about him, that is the beloved, the second one is more about herself. Well, the first one is more sad, about sadness seeping in. The second one is more about letting that sadness go, and the contrast is amazing. If you have read Cobalt Blue, I must say you have read one of the best pieces of fiction in the whole world. This year I happened to read a lot of non-fiction books thanks to you guys. So one of my favorite non-fictions of this year was Charles Duhigg, The Power of Habit. It totally changed my life, and I already have a video on that. I'll link it down below, and please make sure you read it. Then I also read 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. One more amazing book. It basically tells you why the 5-second rule is so important. And Mel Robbins, she can lie, she can lie, but you will believe her. She has that power in her voice, and she has that ability to convince you. I really love Mel Robbins. So basically the 5-second rule says that if you want to do something, just count till 5 and do it immediately. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and do it. And if you don't do it after counting or while counting that, you probably won't get it done ever. And that is a scary thought which makes you do stuff, And maybe the 5-second rule is not right, even though she claims it's scientifically proven. I have no idea how true is that, but it works for me, and that's all I need. Another amazing book that I really loved was Smart Guide for Awesome Memory. Honestly, I wish I had this book when I was in school, because now it does not really have that much relevance, but still it does have. If you're in school, if you know someone who is in school, please give them this book. It'll save their lives, because in India, grades do matter, even though I don't believe that, but universities believe that, and your parents probably believe that, and the whole fucking society believes that. So if you want good grades and if you want to enhance your knowledge, basically, please get this book. It will help you so much. I also read Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni's Palace of Illusions, which is basically about Draupadi. It is such a good book. It portrays Kunti in a very different light from what I actually have read in previous books, which is why I really liked it, because otherwise I do feel that most of the people while writing about Mahabharata are sort of like biased about painting these characters, these women as pure and pious. No, it doesn't happen like that. Not all women. I mean, all women have shades to them, and even the characters of Mahabharata need to have that. And that is something I really enjoyed in Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni's book. By the way, her book Forest of Enchantments is coming in 2019, and I'm so excited about that. Another book that I read this year was a play called A Doll's House, which is by Henrik Ibsen. And if you don't want a spoiler, just skip to the part where I have mentioned below. But this book is amazing. It's about a woman's awakening and the realization that she has a duty that is more than her duty to her children and her husband, and that is her duty to herself. And that is so important to realize. We are always so burdened by our duties towards others that we forget about ourselves, and that's not right. And if you need to realize that, if you want to realize what your calling is, maybe a book like this will help you. I don't really read a lot of plays, but this one was so much worth it. Then there was Kalki, another favorite of mine this year. The second book is actually much better. I initially thought that I'll include the first book, but then I realized that the second book is way, way, way better. So I included this one. Satya Yodha Kalki was such a treat to read, and I really liked it. And because of this book, I actually stopped reading more mythologies, because this was so wholesome that I could not take in any more mythology. The only book that I read after Kalki in the mythology genre this year was Kavita Kane's Fisher Queen's Dynasty, and that was also a very good book. Then I really enjoyed Lincoln in the Bardo, which is by George Saunders. This book is very complicated. This is not for everyone. So I won't recommend you guys to read it unless you read complex books, because this book has a lot of characters and it is not written in a normal way. If your definition of normal is anywhere like mine, because normal is a very subjective term. But the thing is, yeah, this book is a very complicated book, but a very enjoyable book. I already have told you guys a lot about this book and a few more books from Bloomsbury in a different video, so maybe you guys want to check that video out if you want to know more about this. And then one of my favorite crime, mystery, thriller, whatever books, this, oh my god, you guys were killing me to read this, because this was somewhere here around my shelf and a lot of you saw it and you guys were like, why aren't you reading it, Helly? And I'm so sorry that I did not read it earlier. I loved this book. I loved the writing style of Kigo Higashino. I probably must pick up Malice. The thing is, this book is about a murder and concealing it. So from the very first page, you know who the murderer is, but you're sort of rooting for the murderer and the accomplices, because they are such magnificent characters, and that is the unique thing about this book. I really loved Incredia as well, which was a young adult fantasy fiction from an Indian author, which was sort of a first of its kind thing. I really think that more Indian authors should be coming out right now with young adult fiction. I also read Janice Periat's Boats on Land. Her Nine-Chambered Heart is a favorite of mine this year, but Boats on Land was even better. A lot of people have told me that Seahorse is better, but then I have not had the time to finish reading Seahorse. So due to my studies, I had to read James Joyce this year, and that was one of the best things that happened to me. I read Dubliners, which is a collection of some amazing paralyzed short stories, if you can make out of the term. So it's basically a very, very sad collection of short stories set in the city of Dublin, and there's a lot of meaning in each and every line. So it's a scholarly text, you can say, and you can't really read it if you're a beginner, but I really, really urge you to give it a try, give it a bit of research and give it a bit of time and let it seep in, because that collection has some of my very favorite stories, one of them being Eveline. And if you have read it already, let me know in the comment section below. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I am obsessed with K-pop right now. So the moment I started obsessing, I decided to read some K-lit. And that's how I discovered these two amazing gems of books. Number one is The Vegetarian by Han Kang. It's an amazing book about a woman who decides to become a vegetarian and how people totally reject the existence of someone who's a little bit different, because she lives in a society where everybody is non-vegetarian, and being a vegetarian actually means a lot more than being a vegetarian. It means being separate from the society, it means being isolated, it means being different, and when you're different, you're not accepted that easily, and that feeling, it totally broke my heart. And the second one was Kyun Suk Shin's Please Look After Mom. It was about a mom who suddenly gets lost in the metro station. After reading that book, I started treating my mother with even more care and even more love, and my mother was like, what is wrong with you? What do you want from me? But the thing is, that book makes you realize the importance of a mother, and if you're a mother, if you happen to read the book, you will relate so well. It's very, very sad about how being a mother means sacrifices and most of the times sadness. And I do think that's a little bit pessimistic, but from the point of view of the character of this book, no, it wasn't. And I discovered this book that I'm going to read every month, The Little Prince. This was such a good book, guys. It's so strange and so peculiar, and I have told you guys about this book in so many videos that I don't think I should tell you guys more about it. But if you never read a book in your life, just read this. It makes you feel how we just are fit into small boxes from our childhood, and we are expected to do certain things and not navigate out of the boxes. But how do you think out of the box if you're always in the box? And that is basically the thing I liked the most about this book. Then there was Boy in Striped Pajamas. I suggest you guys check my review of this book out. This is a very simple read, but it's a very heartbreaking read at the same time. Before I end this video, I must tell you that I discovered a lot of Russian short story writers this year whom I really loved. I really suggest you guys to read their books, their stories. They are so good that you'll just cry. And I think that Russians do have this knack of writing the best short stories in the world, I guess, because they have this feeling, and the feeling of love and loss are mixed together in the perfect balance in their short stories. Something that I've never ever seen portrayed so beautifully in any other short story writer's works. And it may be that it just is my feeling, because obviously all my views are subjective, but then I really suggest you guys to try some Russian short story writers out, because I would love it if you guys love them. So yeah guys, these were the amazing books that I've read this year. I'm pretty sure I'm missing a few again. So I'll suggest you guys to check out my Goodreads account and check out all the books that I've read this year in my Goodreads account. The link is in the description below. So go check it out, because I really would love you guys to know about every book that I read and everything that I feel. I'm quite active on Goodreads. I review almost every book that I read most of the times. So yeah, make sure you're following me on Goodreads or are friends with me on Goodreads if possible. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. All the books are in the description below, so make sure you check it out. Comment below with your favorites of this year because I would love to know. And I will be back with another video next week. Till then, bye bye.